wait, don't hit the dislike button. Hear me out for a second. I did not expect to be making this kind of video. I put drug story in my comment as a kind of joke. I was genuinely surprised by how many people latched onto it and seemed to want to hear me go on tangents about all of the ridiculous drug experiences I've had. I guess I'm gonna be this generation's Leafy, although actually like good and not shit. I have to apologize about the visuals. You gotta understand, I don't play video games anymore. You know, I'm playing some Minecraft Hypixel party games just because you need some sort of visual. But you know, it's about the story, right? It's about the words. Just sit back, get a nice soda, whatever you drink, chips, and relax. Let's get into this. So I guess as a disclaimer at the start, I should say, I'm not gonna come out here and be like, don't do drugs, stay in school. You've heard that a million times. It's like some old boomer shit. It's a really tired philosophy and moral framework. Oregon as a state in the last election just decriminalized all drugs. Washington is going through that same path right now. We're heading towards a world where drugs are gonna be decriminalized. I'm not gonna be like, go and do heroin, go and do meth. Obviously you don't want to do that recreationally. And I'm like definitely not a serious drug user at all. Sort of ironic because I had all these MLG videos in high school that referenced Snoop Dogg, blunts, marijuana, and I was never smoking at the time. Yeah, and I've kind of stopped recently, but I'm a senior in college now. I've experimented with it in college. So yeah, let's get into the story. So this is going to be the time that I almost died from smoking weed. If you think that's a dramatic title, just wait for it, because this story is batshit crazy. It all starts off freshman year. This was around like the end of my first semester. I had already settled down a bit. I had made some friends. The college I go to has two campuses. Campus that I'm at, very deep in the city. And so everyone was living on campus. And the rules for like what kind of drinks you could have, what parties you could throw were so strict that really nobody threw parties at the campus that I was at. All of the parties were at the other campus. So I didn't really go to that many parties my freshman year simply because I was at the wrong campus basically. However, I started chatting up this girl on Tinder. I had downloaded Tinder just for fun because I just wanted to experiment, and I matched with this junior at the other campus of the college that I go to. We hit it off so well. We were exchanging jokes about like music that we liked. We're talking about sports. We're talking about what classes we had. We were just vibing. We were just mingling. And eventually, after we had chatted for enough time, she asked me for my number. I asked her for her Snapchat. We became pretty close. And then, you know, this was probably like a few weeks after we had initially started talking. She invited me one Friday to come up and party at the other campus. I was so hyped because I had never really been to a college party yet. I dressed up really nicely around like 9 o'clock. I met up with one of my friends because I didn't want to go alone, right? You never want to go to a party that with people you never met. You know, you always want to bring somebody. So I enlisted one of my buddies to come up with me, and we had to take the shuttle because since there are two campuses, my college had a shuttle service which you could take between the two. We pre-gamed a little bit, did a couple vodka shots, and then we boarded the shuttle and we went up. And this is like 9 o'clock, not super far into the night yet, but something insane happened on the drive up. This might honestly be one of the most insane things that has ever happened in my life, let alone freshman year of college. We were going on the highway up to the other college. Midway through the highway, I hear this really loud noise behind me. It sounds like something exploded. And I look behind me and I see a car is literally flipping in mid-air. I am not joking at all. A car legit flipped backwards behind us. And it was so weird because I didn't see how it started. I only saw the middle of it. So I just see this car in the middle of the air. And I hear this loud bang behind me. And it's so weird because the shuttle is literally just me, my friend, and then a couple other people who are going to the campus, and then the driver. Everyone is just mouths open, silent, like what the hell just happened? And the driver of the car immediately like gets his radio out, starts saying some code to whoever the person is at the other end, and just starts picking up the pace like crazy. We're like trying to look back out the window. It's like a van, so it's kind of hard to see out the back window. It's a little bit obscured. It's also night and kind of misty, foggy. It was so weird. I still to this day like have no idea what happened there. For that to happen so early in the night, we were absolutely shook. But it did give us something to talk about later on in the night, which was, I guess, good, very terrifying. We like immediately texted our friends and our parents telling them what happened, because it was like, if that car was in front of us, we could have died. I don't know if it crashed into the car behind them, but like it was one of those things where I just felt blessed in the moment that I didn't get injured. But anyway, That's not even the main part of the story. We still got a long night to go, guys. So we finished driving up there. We get out of the van. We're kind of like wobbling, trembling a little bit because we're just like, holy shit. Then I text the girl who invited me up. We go and meet at their dorm. Some of their friends are there too. We all like kind of say hi, meet for the first time. Then we go to the clubs. You gotta know, like, I had never been to a club in my life. I mean, I was 18 then, but there were 4 clubs in the neighborhood that allow people under 21 in. There's a rumor that it's all run by some kind of Albanian mafia. Like, all the bar managers are Albanian and they have like a deal with the police to let underage kids in, and they like give a certain amount of the money to the police. I don't know about that. Like, I've never heard that claim corroborated by any official evidence, but it is kind of weird that they just like let 18-year-olds in and serve them alcohol. Back then I wasn't asking any questions. I was just happy to be let in. I was pretty terrified when I walked in for the first time. You know, guys, I had always been a good kid in high school. I did cross country. I was a straight A student. I won awards for being an all-around great classmate. And I was like worried I was going to get caught. I was going to get fined. I was going to get sent to jail or something. At the first club we went to, there was this really bulky, scary-looking guy at the front. But he just let me in. I think it was because I was with a group of girls. You know, if you've ever been to a club or a bar, you know that it's a lot easier to get in when you're surrounded by women. Because if you're just a group of guys, they're either going to give you a hard time or they're going to make you pay a lot of money. Bar managers want like a good proportion of men to women, basically. So that's a tip. If you ever want to go to a club and you don't want to pay a lot of money, bring some female friends. Anyway, we get in and we start drinking. I just got like absolutely blasted so quickly. And it's like this really tight club, kind of a sweat lodge, you know? You just have all these really moist 19-year-old frat dudes walking around, spilling alcohol on each other. It's not super fun. Yeah, after we got sufficiently drunk, we decided to go to this party that was what the girl had originally invited me to. So it was at the track house, which is basically like the frat house for the track team. Once we got there, we were just kind of chilling. I kind of split off from the main group and I just started talking to random people. I got even more drunk. I'm normally pretty introverted, but when I get really drunk, I will just talk to anybody and I can actually hold a conversation, which is fantastic. Some point during the party, we kind of like let out, or there was like a little patio area and some people just kind of drifted out onto the patio. That's when the smoking started happening. I started to smell weed and I wanted some, or at least I was curious about it since I had to this point smoked a couple times before, but I'd never really done it at a party, especially not after I was drunk. And so I saw there was a circle of people who were passing around a joint and I walked kind of closer and started chatting with them. They were just giving it around, so I just took some hits. I much prefer the feeling of being crossed than being just like normally high, so I was like really vibing. The rest of my group, the girls and her friends, were also started smoking. We were all just kind of smoking, and I think at one point, this was like past the 2016 election, and like when I get high, I start saying some really random shit. I was having a debate with somebody. I got into a debate about whether or not it was a Bernie versus Hillary. Like the guy was a really staunch Bernie supporter. I was like trying to, I guess, defend Hillary a little bit, but then it ended up being like me questioning whether Hillary Clinton was even a real person or if she was like a ghost. And I don't know how, but I just came to the conclusion that like Hillary Clinton didn't exist. And I think that's when I realized that I was actually just like so baked. Yeah, it was just like some weird shit. I think I went on like a rant about how I fucking hate Post Malone. And that like offended some people and they started giving me some really mean looks. So I got my friends and we kind of hightailed it out of there. It was probably like 3 a.m. We ended up getting more drinks at a deli just because we were tired of the bars and we just wanted to go and chill on the lawn, because at this other campus, it's sort of out of the city, more rural area. So there's a huge lawn. Kind of just like chilled on the lawn for a bit. But okay, as a testament to how drunk I was, I kid you not, I was rolling around and drinking the sprinkler water because there were all these sprinklers that were wetting the grass at night. We were like a pack of like 5-6 people just like rolling around on the lawn and then drinking this disgusting sprinkler water from the jets. So yeah, I've never done that. Since then, I haven't done that and I don't suggest doing that. At this point, it was probably like 4 a.m. and I was really tired, and so my friend from Tinder said they were gonna head back to the dorms now, go to bed, because it was late and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So my friend and I, the one friend who I brought, we're gonna go head back to the other campus. But then something bad happened. We went to get the shuttle back, but then we realized that the last shuttle had already left at 3:30 a.m. and it was like 4 a.m. now. So we were like, holy shit, what the hell do we do? And we couldn't go and stay in the dorm with my Tinder friend because you need to give a notice 24 hours in advance. So we were legit just like stranded in this campus. Luckily there is like train, because I live in a big city basically. You guys probably know what city, but I'm not going to say it for my own sake. But you can basically take a train to transport between the campuses, although the train was kind of far away from campus. And this is like, it's not a bad neighborhood, but it's like, I mean, basically anywhere in a city at like 4 a.m. is kind of sus. Yeah, we had to make this kind of really sketchy walk to the train. We were like both just like crossed out of our brains. Like we just felt so fried. Just like down these really dark streets, no lights at all. Eventually we made it to the train. We had to wait for so long because it was the middle of the night. We saw so many rats all over the place. It was gross. We basically just like passed out on the bench. And then the train finally came. We got on the train and I felt this like sudden urge to puke so badly. I think it was because the motion of the train and how it would like go fast and then kind of slow down a bit. I had to puke really badly, but my friend had to puke even worse. We were like basically just like trying to distract each other. But then at one stop, he had to get out of the train. He ran really quickly to the trash while the train had stopped and like mini puked into the garbage bin. Yeah, it was just like, this was just a bad part of the night basically. Eventually we made it back to the dorm. And I don't know, for some reason, guys, I felt like the night wasn't over yet. I hadn't had enough. I told my friend that we should go and smoke some weed because I had some weed. I had like this thing called a dab pen, which is like basically THC in a vape format. I suggested that we go and smoke some, but he was not down at all. He had already puked, so he just went back to bed. I had to decide whether I wanted to do it myself, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's get high as shit. Alright, keep in mind that I had work the next morning. I didn't tell you guys this, but this was a Friday night and I had like a long ass Saturday shift at the running store that I worked at. It was going to be like an 8-hour shift and it started at 10 in the morning. I just like don't even know what I was thinking. It was really just like the worst idea ever, but I just needed to get high. So I went up to my dorm and I grabbed my dab pen and I went downstairs and I decided to walk down to the river. I knew at sunrise it would be so beautiful and the sun was already starting to come up and the color was just amazing. It was like purple pink in the sky. So I stumbled over there. I like sat myself on this perch by the river. I could see boats coming in. It was just so beautiful, but I just got more and more high to the point where like I felt like my brain was kind of fizzing and like my teeth were actually hurting. Like it was a weird sensation where I felt like I could feel each one of my teeth. I could feel like every part of me kind of vibrating. And then I just kept smoking. I don't know why. It was like I couldn't stop. And then I felt like my brain was like getting fried and like almost imploding. Like here I was literally just like sitting still on like a bench or a perch and I felt like I was going to die. It was so weird. After I looked it up, and this is like a phenomenon called greening, also like depersonalization. So it's like when you smoke so much that your brain literally can't handle it and you start to like kind of like lose yourself. You kind of transcend from your body. I don't know how to explain it. I tried to like think of my family and like, you know how you normally feel like you have such a strong association? Like there's such a big bond, an emotional bond in your head with like your family and your friends. You know everything about them. I felt like a stranger from my own family. Like I thought of my parents' names and they just felt like random names. It was like the most scary, alienating thing that I've ever experienced in my life. I had just smoked so much weed to the point where I was losing my sanity. I had to lay down because I just could not handle what was going on. I knew my name, but it just like didn't even feel like my own name. I couldn't comprehend what was happening. Yeah, I think I had a nap there for a couple hours. I woke up around like 9 o'clock. I felt a little better. I felt like stable enough to go back to my dorm and like eat some food. But I did have to call out sick from work that day. It was so bad. I got in so much trouble because you're not supposed to call out like the day of. I mean, you can, but it's frowned upon. That experience was like honestly a highlight of my freshman year, but it was also a low light just because it felt kind of dangerous in some moments and I did a lot of stupid shit. Luckily, I'm a very rational person and generally like take pretty good care of myself, so I didn't put myself in any dangerous situations where I was like walking in the front of cars when I was that stoned. But yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed this story. Once again, this was like kind of an experiment. I don't don't know how good I am at telling stories, so let me know. I have like a ton more kind of like this. If it's something you guys want to see, then let me know, because I could definitely produce this stuff more often. Like, it's a lot easier for me to do this than to make MLG edits. I could probably release like 3 of these videos a week. If you enjoy, definitely leave a like and write something in the comments. Also, remember to join the Discord and follow me on Twitter. See you guys soon.